And go. Hi everyone, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits and I'm here for just a spontaneous live stream. Now, the original thumbnail might look pretty familiar because I did a live stream, what was it, last week, as part of the ChemKnits dialogue for October 2018, where I used the tree that is currently on the screen over there as inspiration to dye a Nitpicks stroll sock blank. Well, you guys had some really great suggestions for colorways and especially incorporating some blue into this very fall gradient that I was creating last time. So I wanted to use those leftover dyes, bring in a little blue, and do sort of the other type of gradient hand painted that I had in my head with you guys this afternoon. Now, as part of the ChemKnits dialogue, I am not always going to be doing 2 live streams. Or most of the time I think it'll just be one, either live stream or pre-filmed video. But every month I am also going to do a recap in which I will feature some pictures from what you dye inspired by the photograph at home. If you would like to be featured, either share your photo with the hashtag ChemKnitsDialogue. I can move this picture up so I guess you can see it a little. Haha! The hashtag ChemKnitsDialogue on Instagram, or find this photo on the ChemKnits Facebook page and reply with your pictures in the comments. And then I will choose a couple and feature when I do the official recap of these live streams. And so that is the first little spiel. Hello, everybody! And why am I not seeing timestamps? Toggle timestamps. Woohoo! The other big announcement is that Nitpicks is having a site-wide sale right now. So almost everything is 15% off with the code FALL15. I am popping my affiliate link into the video description. It is also in the, I just popped it back into the chat. It is also in the video description. The link that I shared is directly to the bare sock blanks that I dyed last time and will dye this time. But the code works on the whole site. And it works on bulk 20 packs of yarn. So if you buy a package of 20%, if you buy a pack of 20 skeins of bare yarn, you get a bulk discount of around 15 to 20% depending on the yarn. But you can now use the code FALL15 to save an additional 15% on your purchase, which is awesome. It feels so good to see the savings at the bottom when you check out. I don't think that this stacks with other coupon codes. So this sale may not stack with the sweater weather discount, but it should stack on any items that have been, actually I have no idea if it applies to items that have been marked down. I didn't check to see if it stacks with the 20% off yarn of the month or not. But I have already ordered a couple bags of bare yarn. Because clearly I need more yarn. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know about that. And so, the links that I shared to the sock links will take you to their site. And then if you make a purchase, I get credit. I guess I should say I am a Nitpicks affiliate, so I do, but all the items that I use, I purchase and pick myself. They have not solicited me in any way to share any of this with you. So, anywho, let's first take a peek at the yarn, that we dyed last time. So last time, and maybe I should bring this picture back up, but make it a little smaller. Haha, not quite small enough. Last time, I was inspired by this green to a reddish-orange gradient. And so I did these little dots that sort of fade from the dark green through lime green, yellow-orange, deeper orange, and then the red. And I do plan to unravel this for the recap. But there were many different suggestions on how I could incorporate blue into this look. I could have added some dots of blue throughout it. I could have added the blue onto that reddish edge. There are, dozens of different combinations that one could think of. And so I'm going to go for a gradient again today, but I think it's gonna be a little different, if that makes sense. Now the colors that I mixed, you'll need to go back and see the other live stream to know the proportions that I used. I was using the Wilton Color-Right Color Performance System. And, I can bring my face back up because I'm just sitting here. I used the Wilton Color-Right Color Performance System. And there's also an affiliate link for that in the video description. It's a very concentrated food coloring. And so I mixed all the colors that I have left in the cups during that live stream. They might be a little more concentrated now because they've had some time to evaporate a little bit, but they should still be perfectly usable. And then I'm about to go mix the blue to hopefully bring that pop of color. But anyway, I am very, very excited, and I have loved seeing the photos that you guys have shared already of your own projects. All right, I'm gonna remove those and see if there's anything. Yay, hi everyone. All right, moving this so I can see. Oof. Yeah, I know this is a time when I don't frequently start live streams because I don't know, it's not always a reasonable time because usually I have to pick up the kids, but they have, one of them has like a bonus gym class and the other one has dance class, so. All right, in this cup right here, I have 1/3 of a cup of water. And, here are some original, I still saved the paper towel with the fork markings of the colors I did last time. And I need a blue. And if I like using, what did I do with it? I like using the Wilton Color-Right Color Mixing Guide. And one of the reasons why I like using this is that it takes into account the relative proportion of concentration of the different dye molecules, or at least the relative intensities. So for example, if you want to make a really nice green, like this one right here, you need 15 drops of yellow, but only 3 drops of blue. So the blue is way more intense than the yellow. And this is something that we also saw during the Mystery Surprise Dip Dye-a-thon. When we mixed colors together, we could really see which tones overtook other ones and which ones were a lot more subtle. No, I just got started. The only thing is, and I don't even know if I pulled a link to the first live stream. That's where I mixed all of those colors. But I'm still planning to do a sock blank. I'm going to be using paintbrushes again. And I just need to decide on the level of blue that I want. So let's start with, there was one that I saw that, I thought I saw a blue that had a hint of, well, that's more of a teal. Yeah, I guess I don't necessarily want a teal. Well, that's sky blue with, okay, let's start with 5 drops of blue. And we might potentially add a drop of black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am wearing gloves now, so that way I do not, so that way I don't just turn color. These colors are very pigmented, and this might be way too dark. That is beautiful. I overdid it. I overdid it significantly. Okay, let's see. Let's grab another cup. put in a third of a cup of water. I said that these colors were pigmented. Okay, a third of a cup of water. And let's go ahead and start with 1 teaspoon of this blue that we already mixed. That is likely going to be a bit paler than what I want. Although all things considered is not horrible. Let's add 1 more teaspoon. And so that's the thing. It's easier in general when mixing colors. I recommend starting low. Okay, that's pretty good. I might decide that I want to punch it up and go and have the blue have like the lighter blue and use the darker blue. So this actually isn't a really bad thing to have both of those. But this is basically our color palette for the day. Let me think. I guess now I do want to take the gloves off momentarily as I set up the blank. And so if you guys love what you see here, there are a few ways that you can support ChemKnits. One of them is if you like the items if you think of any of the items that I'm using in the stream, you want to try out for yourself, then you can pick them up using my affiliate links, and I get some credit for that. But another way is there's a little $sign underneath the chat window, and that is a super chat. And so think of that like a tip jar. Now, a bunch of you have given super chats recently, or you're ChemKnits patrons through Patreon, and so don't feel obligated, but it's just a nice way to help contribute to all of the materials that I use in these streams. But there's some other things that ways that you can contribute that you can find in the video description, including the ChemKnits Patreon, and I have an Etsy store where I sell these yarns, yada, yada, yada. Cool. All right, so this sock blank I just pre-soaked for about half an hour, and I pre-soaked it in some tap water with vinegar. I think I had maybe about 2.5 tablespoons in, I'm guesstimating 8 to 10 cups of water. And actually, all right, so my thought today is, and this is rough, I am not a painter by any stretch, but I sort of today want to do something that is, and this is just sort of my guideline, I want to think about the way that sort of like a leaf might branch out. So these paintbrushes are ones that I got at IKEA. And so I'm starting with one color, and I'm going to have some of the other colors sort of radiate out, is my plan, sort of like veins. Roughly like a leaf, I said. And so these like lines that I'm doing are going to be more concentrated towards the bottom, so we'll have more of the light green stuff down here, and then we'll start having more of the other tones sort of up here. At least that is my hope. And if anyone has a question and I miss it, feel free to ask again, because I can't always see things. There we go. All right, that is, of course I didn't use up like nearly any of this green, but that is where I am going to start. Now let's go for this lime green. So some line, whoa. Okay, that was not mixed, but that is okay. I can add more of the darker green on if I need to. I like that it's almost like breaking. But these colors, again, were mixed, what, like a week or so ago? So, and I'm not sure of the color penetration. There will likely be some speckling with white in here. I'm not sure why we're seeing so much breaking, but I'm really, really digging it. For some reason, these greens are hitting the yarn first, and then I'm seeing more yellow tones. And oh, I could be picking up, you know what I think it is? I think that I'm picking up some of the blues when I brush over the centered green. That's what I think I'm doing. So this is the point where I kind of start to make things up as I go along, because I thought that maybe I would go thicker with these colors right now, but I might not. And I might need to, this might not feel like as much of a gradient as I thought that I was going to be doing. Except to have this modge of colors that will fade into a blue. But as I said, I can take a look and then always add some more colors. I am not very good at drawing. Something like that is not my strong suit. I can follow along with like a paint night, and I can like do something that looks like reasonable, and I actually really enjoy those type of paint night things. But this kind of thing is not. There's some people who will do stock blanks that you look at that and you're like, wow, I just want to frame that. That is like a work of art on its own. And that is not Rebecca from ChemKnits. That's just not. So maybe what I want to do. Oh, Trippin' Falls, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, thank you. Maybe I need to have this carry up a bit more. Just sort of like one last little spine. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll have the yellow be thicker, like towards the bottom, and then thinner, and sort of like do it that way, if that makes any sense at all. And of course I know that these greens are going to spread out more now that it is wet. Well, I guess it was wet before, but it's wetter. Oh, and the blank is laying on a piece of plastic wrap. And that plastic wrap go. Maybe I'll add some more branches down here. To increase, maybe that'll help. Okay, we'll see. And now going back in with the light green. I'm totally not using up all of this yarn today, am I? Oh well. By yarn, I mean dye. I thought that I was going to be like, oh, I'll totally use it all up. Doubtful.
do want to make sure to pay some attention to the edge. I don't mind if there's some like white speckles because of color penetration issues, but I'd like there to not be massive, massive chunks of white. Mm-hmm. All right. What do you guys think so far? I'd love to know. Oh, it's kind of looking a little bit like coral to me, which I think is really, really cool. Now I have a cup here to rinse my brush, but there might be some like color transfer through, but that's why I'm starting with, well, I'm going to end with blue, but I'm starting with like the greens and then going through the oranges. Okay, and so now, okay, now I've got this orange, and cool, because I think that the way that this is going right now, there's going to be no blue at this very tip, and then there'll be maybe some hints of the blue, then there'll be a lot more down at the other end. At least that is my goal here today. This is really fun, actually. It's fun to like feel very artsy. I mean, I feel artistic a lot in what I do, but I'm really feeling like I'm making a picture right now, and that is really, really fun. And so what we're going to have here is a really cool but non-repeating colorway. I mean, there's going to be some color progression patterns in the way that this opens up, in that, you know, that dark green is always going to be surrounded by the light green, etc. But this is not a color that would likely pool. So I'm going to need to think about what I'm going to do further on when there's space that's not filled. Maybe I'll do like red or, maybe I'll do, because I'm going to do the darker reds and then the blue. And then maybe I should go back out again. Yeah, oh, it's looking, I just looked at the, took a quick look at the chat and saw this on that screen. And it looks really, really cool on that little screen. Yeah, so to an extent, I'm making this up as I go along. But that's how, honestly, there's some projects that I have planned out. But a lot of times when I go into a project, I think, okay, I want to use these 4 colors and these, you know, brands of dye. And then I sort of see what's happening as I get started, and then let that sort of help define how things go moving forward. If that makes sense. Yeah, so I guess what I'll be doing towards the end will depend a lot on what colors I have left. And so then the way that this is done with these stripes, most of the color sections are going to be really tiny. There might be some sections where the lines go a little more vertical. Actually, no, the vertical. There are maybe some sections where the lines might go a little more horizontal, where you might have a larger section of one color. But in general, the color repeats are really small. Which is cool. Whoops, I had a little splatter. That is okay. Oh, this is looking cool. And when I do the recap video, I saved some leaves from the tree in a magazine, from the tree that inspired this video. Or, sorry, for the tree that inspired the October dialogue. And yeah, I'm planning to put some of those next to the yarn. Because the leaves had these, actually I shared a picture of the leaves before I saved them on, I think, probably both Instagram and Facebook. And I thought that they were just like gorgeous. Yeah, so we'll definitely have some blue in some of those bigger spots. I don't think I missed anything though. All right, this time I'm not rinsing out the brush because the next color is sort of a red orange. And yeah, it's got having a little more yellow in it, I don't think is going to hurt anybody. What I don't know is if I'm going to be going to the next red or not, because this and that red were so close to one another. I'm not sure if it'll make like a huge difference. This is really fun. I wish, oh, I should figure out how to like put YouTube on. So technically the iPad is my iPad. It's my Kindle that's on like our family's Kindle account, but the kids use it and the kids are better at it than I am, even at 2. Like, I don't know how to change between apps. I'm an Android person, so I mean, I'm not like a robot, but I'm an Android user. Sorry, saying I'm an Android person is hilarious. Oh, goodness, I crack myself up. Oh, this is looking cool. I honestly did not know how this would go. I hoped that it would look cool. Yeah, I feel like that there's a lot of space towards the top, but maybe that's where the darker red will come into play. And then in these other spots, I'll just fill those in with the blue. Actually, I've got 2 blues. I've got the lighter blue and then a darker blue too. So maybe I would ring this orangey red in the lighter blue and then use the darker blue so it's like a little gradient like. Ooh, that sounds cool. I like coming up with ideas as I go along. Hopefully I have enough of each of the colors to do all of these things I want to do. Where's the acid source in the project? Great. Oh, it looks so cool on the screen. On the little thumbnail. The acid is in the yarn itself. I pre-soaked the yarn in, did I just get dye on my shirt? I don't care. I pre-soaked the yarn in tap water with some vinegar. There is no added vinegar to these dyes. And one of the main reasons why I do that is because I know that with food coloring specifically, red number 3 will crash out in acidic conditions. And so if I had too much acid in at the beginning, then it could like look strange, or we could lose some of the red. Actually, when I did the recent dry rub with Wilton's Violet 3 different ways, there, what did I have? I had like the Wilton's Violet turned like this gorgeous blue when you added vinegar to it. And it was very confusing at first, but then the purple came back. So this is cool. I like it's feeling fractally. So these blanks, I mean, they're not unwound yet. These unraveled blanks are not yet in the ChemKnits Creations Etsy store, but I do have some other matched 50-gram sets that came from soft blanks that unraveled. Unfortunately, like they're pretty expensive, but that's because usually there's a lot more labor that goes into these yarns between the the unraveling and the dyeing. Like some of the dye process can be a little more involved, but that is cool. Now I need to see, because I'm almost out of that color. I've got this darker red. And I'm going to test it up here. Huh. Okay, I do see, I'll look at the camera now. I do technically see a difference. Should I do the darker red before the blue? Probably. Yeah, this is looking really, really cool. Okay, I think I am going to go through and add some of this red. It might just make this more orangey color look a little more saturated, but I think that it'll help. There we go. If I like really sort of lay it on thick, then it does become more red. And then I'll start adding the blues in. And the nice thing was when I go for the blues, if that lighter blue that I mixed feels too pale, I can always like go over it with the brighter one. So all right. I always feel weird when I'm not talking a lot, but sometimes I am just so engrossed in my project that I don't know, it's always, I'm really focusing when I'm not chatting a lot. And I love chatting. Cool. Okay, I'm glad that I went for the red before the blue because this is going to give us some really small peaks of the blue before before the blue becomes a lot more intense. Sort of like though I wish some of these crevices were left for the blue. Oh well. I mean, there's crevices down there. All right. The blues are coming soon. All right, before we get to the blue, I think I might take a brief break. I might send you guys to a short commercial break and take some pictures of this because I think it's cool. I think it's really, really cool. Oh my gosh. I'm having so much fun. Okay, let me come back over here. I need to bring my face back up. Oh dear, I made myself really small because then you can see the pretty. And I'm gonna bring this tree up so we can like sort of do a little compare. But that is looking really, really cool. Oh, I'm glad I added that darker red. It's, whew, the neighborhood is turning a lot more red right now. Oh, that is looking awesome. If I do say so myself. And, oh, I was like, where's the phone? Okay. I am going to send you guys to a brief commercial break. So hang tight and then I'll come and add the blue. And not everyone will see the commercial break. YouTube decides who sees it and whatnot. But thank you all for hanging tight while I take a brief break. All right. And during this break, I'm going to take some pictures of this and add it to my stories. Not that I'm very good, but like social media stuff, but okay, I don't know if I have the capability of doing this quickly. Share. I need a new phone. It's really bad. Maybe I won't be able to do this. I'll put my face back on so you guys can see me as I sit down for a moment and then, text. Live now. Nope. No. My story. Cool, I think I did it. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I am at ChemKnits. And see, now I have a live now on YouTube thing. And I can send that to my Facebook story too. Because, you know, I am talented. Let me see if you guys have any questions before I stand up and get going. Do I sense a no dye left behind space dye in the near future? Potentially. Or I might dump everything together. I actually still have a container of leftover dye from the Mystery Surprise Dip Dye-a-thon too. So yeah, maybe it'll just be like a space dye altogether kind of thing. Ooh, you got a sock blank? Yes, yes. I will convince you all to order the sock blanks. I just dropped the link. I just dropped the affiliate link for the sock blank in the video description. And once again, this I pick and pay for all my own materials and supplies, blah, blah, blah. But I have, yeah, and I've been using Nitpicks yarns for a while. And last fall, was that only last fall? And the last year I splurged on a 20-pack of sock blanks. And that was really scary. That was really, really scary. But actually, I think the first time I bought a 20-pack was when, the first time I bought a 20-pack of anything, I think was of Wool of the Andes. And then I may have done an unboxing to be like, look, oh goodness. Oh no, I think my hands were just sweaty. I was like, look guys, there's a lot of videos coming up, lots of great, great content. But it was really nerve-wracking to do like that kind of investment. Now, if you're wanting to dye along, there's still a lot of water in here. I'm going to go rinse this in the sink.
If you're wanting to dye, do your own dyeing experiments and play with color, but you're nervous to doing things on 100 grams at a time, you do not need to start with 100 grams. If you go and look at my old dyeing videos, I used these tiny mini skeins of yarn that were maybe 3 grams each because, you know, it was expensive and I didn't have, you know, patrons or lovely friends that give super chats and stuff to help me continue to get materials. There's still pink in my brush. I wish I had another one. But thanks to the Kickstarter, I was able to get some dedicated dye equipment. Okay, there's pink in this. I'm just going to roll with it. Hopefully that doesn't turn the blue too purpley. But I'm going to start with the lighter blue, and then I'll go to the darker one if I need to. What would I expect this looks like knitted up? That's a great question, and it honestly depends on like who knits it and what you're making. Because if this were, for example, going into a pair of socks, I would expect that the pattern would look very speckled, and then would get sort of over the course you would see, you know, more and more blue. So it would be sort of like an abstract kind of speckled gradient. But, you know, if you're doing a shawl, it really depends on if you're doing something that, you know, like, you know, if a socks has, 60 stitches around versus a cowl, which might have hundreds of stitches around, they're going to have a very, very different kind of feel. And so it can make a massive, massive difference on what things look like. And so that's one of the, I guess, more like lazy reasons why I don't show knit swatches at the end of my videos. And that's because, like, truly there is a lot of variation.
Hello, guys. I'm not sure if you guys can see me. I am still here. This is not the sound that I like to use. The other camera is out. For the other camera, which is also the microphone, sort of froze, and so I'm working on trying to get that fixed. And I do not know if I'm going to need to restart the computer to get it to work. I hope not. Yeah, no, I mean, I know you guys can see and hear me now. It's the other camera that is not working, the one that I use for the streaming. Yes, the back picture is black because that camera froze, and I'm working on fixing that. So I'm going to go away for a little bit, and if you guys, the second mic is not working. Oh, it is. Oh, you're right. The second mic was working. So it's just I need a new webcam. Okay, I am going to try to restart the app again. If you guys can let other people know in the chat that this is happening while I'm troubleshooting this, that would be great. Thank you. Hello, hello, hello. Nope. Going to try this one more time. Hey. All right, we got the camera working again. I have no idea where I left up. Oh. There. We don't need both mics. And I think that I have that all figured out and worked out. So, phew. I don't know what it is about this camera. It is not my favorite because it does stuff like this. But yes. So for some of you guys who are like, oh, the reason why some people were thinking that it could be YouTube versus on my end is last week YouTube went down, like across the board for hours. And I happened to have been in the middle of a stream at the time. So the last time there were technical difficulties, it was not on my end at all. So you guys missed almost all of the applying of the blue. Okay, so what I was trying to decide is if I want to do, there's a couple dabs, like there's one right above my head. Oh, I mean, it's better if I point from up here. So what I'm trying to decide is how to proceed now. And I think what I want to do, and so I have one dab of the darker blue up here. I think what I want to do is alternate the lighter blue and the darker blue for the rest of it. So that way we have, I really love this sort of design that's going on, and I do not want to, I don't know if I want to add more orange back in on the top because I'm just really loving how this is playing out. So this sock blank is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. It is a Nitpicks sock blank, and oh no, I do not have my linky saved anymore. It's like trying to copy into chat. It's not working. Yes, it is a Stroll sock blank affiliate link. So that is, or it's a Stroll sock. You know what it is. All right, I think I am going to proceed with this darker blue. And then the reason why I think I might do some rings of both the blues is that there'll be some like patch, it'll be like an abstract sky with maybe some patches of white in there too, and these varying depths of the blue. And this dark color was only 5 drops of the Wilton Colorite blue into a third of a cup of water. And so, there was a question. Trying to remember what it was I was going to say as I'm adding this. So for what this will look like knit up, I think that these sections I'm going through now will end up looking sort of like speckled and variegated blue. We'll know when we go roll this up to microwave it a little bit more about what the coverage looks like and like how far these colors penetrated towards the back of the blank. But yeah, I think that this is how I'm going to proceed for the rest. I don't want to bring the darker, I only wanted a little bit of the darker green because there was a little bit of it only a little bit of it in the tree. And so that's sort of where I came to that idea. Because I also, I also want the amounts of the other colors to really decrease a bit as we go on. Yeah, because I could keep just going and repeat colors and stuff, and then you end up with something that'll feel less, like visually this looks like a gradient to me right now. And that's sort of what I want. With these blues, I am keeping a bit more white in the spacing of it. Think like clouds and stuff. So I don't want to just do the end solid blue. What's funny is that this time this blue almost looks like a different color. And that's because there was still a lot of pink in the brush when I did the first light blue ring. And that is why I don't know if you guys can see that, but it might look a bit more purple. But yes, and I know colors can be so subjective. And so there are a lot of times, say like in the indie dyer business group, where someone will be like, ugh, I made this horrible colorway. What should I do to try to remedy this? And then a lot of people will be like, oh, I will buy that. Because, some people everyone has a different style. And so everyone has a different sort of colorway that they like. And yeah, I think I'm gonna keep going with this quote sky. No worries. It totally looks like a heat map. Oh man. And I have not come close to using up this dye. Well, I've come close with like the reds and the oranges, but for the rest of this, I will have some mixed colors to play with. But yeah, there's definitely a no dye left behind that will be coming up from all of this. Actually, that might be, we're going to have extra children in our house this weekend. And so I will not be around very much this weekend. Oh dear. This might drip on. I'm in danger of dripping onto the floor. It's like stretched over the edge. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to shift any of the glorious magic going on here. Ooh. All right, I'm liking this, like, whatever this is. I think it's so cool. Random dye yarn from the fiber video the other day. Yeah, some of these random ones that I just throw together end up being some of the most beautiful yarns. Like, there's a couple that of the one of a kinds that are so amazing that I kept for my own personal stash, which a lot of times I don't. I have a limit. Like, either things have to come out of the like ChemKnits reserved yarns, and by like being knit, or if I'm going to put something back in there, I have to like trade it for something and put something else in the shop. But like, there's a lot of things I'm like, okay, I could dye this again. So therefore, like, this one I don't need to keep, even though I love it. But with some of those one of a kinds, those are ones that are more likely that I want to hold on to, because the odds of me being able to recreate them specifically on my own are really slim, because, you know, sometimes it's the vinegar mixture could be really random because it's a leftover dye pot from a lot of projects, or it could be the colors are a random mixture, or the dye bath started off with, you know, some leftover colors, and I might be able to, from scratch, get something similar, but it can be hard to repeat something exactly when you do not have the proportions of everything that went into it. And that is one of the very fun things about dyeing yarn. So we're brushing some of that blue on that edge. When doing a sock blank, you do want to pay some attention to the edges. Now, I am intentionally leaving some white space in here, and there will likely be some if there's shallow color penetration in areas anyway. But sometimes the edges can be rolled under a bit, and so you just want to pay attention to that. And, oh, I guess, I don't know if I said this at the beginning, but when it comes to the ChemKnits dye along, your inspiration from the photo can be as literal or not as you like. Like, you could choose to just be inspired by the sky in the picture, or you could be inspired by the whole thing, the whole tree and the sky, or you could even choose, like, if there's a truck in the background or something. Or you could see the tree and think autumn, and not do something based on the colors in the picture, but go by the like theme and the feel. So it just needs to be like very tangentially related. And so that is one of the other fun things, is that all of us see inspiration very differently. Oh, it looks like water and waves. This is feeling a little starry night up in here. I mean, the wrong colors, but my view of the live stream is like this tiny thumbnail, maybe like an eighth of the size of my whole. Like, why does it say no data? Oh. Okay, I should be back, I hope. Sorry guys, that time, it was a streaming software that connected me for no reason. Yes, always let me know in the chat. I'm sorry there have been, why is the stream status bad? I hope that we don't lose it again. At least the dyeing is mostly back. No, I don't think that it's YouTube. At least I don't know. I think it could be YouTube, but like, I was seeing like, oh, my software said that it was reconnecting me. So I think that this was a problem on my end this time versus YouTube. But just in case we have more technical difficulties, and you guys, thank you so much for sticking with me through all of this.
I'm going to give a quick rundown of how I'm going to proceed now. So we've got our beautiful, beautiful colors. After I take a couple pictures of the blank, I'm going to roll it up with the plastic wrap that was protecting my work surface. And then I'm going to microwave it on high for a total of 4 minutes, but in 2-minute increments. And the reason why I like to recommend short increments is that the power of different microwaves can vary a lot. And so I've never scorched yarn, and I wouldn't want any of you to either. So therefore, I start with 2 minutes on high, I tap it, and then I do another 2 minutes. And then it should be like hot to touch, like I don't want to leave my hands on the yarn. And then I'll wait for it to cool completely. If sometimes with some things, or if I have 200 grams, I might do 6 minutes total. It really depends, and depends on the consistency of your microwave as well, to be honest. Yeah, my weather is stormy, but not, I don't know, my internet is not, I might need to upgrade my internet for ChemKnits reasons. I really might. I wonder sometimes if they are choking me because I upload a lot of videos and I do a lot of streaming. So, yeah, it says that the quality is, quote, okay right now. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure why things are doing what they're doing, but hopefully, yeah. But anyway, if you're just joining me, I don't know what I just did. Let me bring up the inspiration picture again. So this time there's a lot more red in the picture than I had in my inspiration. There is more blue, and so you can see how this is sort of an abstract version of the tree with the blue peeking in through the, oh, I'm moving the mouse around like you can see it when you can't. I'm sorry, guys. But with it peeking in, so yeah, so it's, but the gradient of the darker blue, or sorry, the dark green to the lime green to the orange to more red is still present. And no, I'm not gonna make the tree that tiny, that's goofy. Oh, but I should, okay, I need to do something for the thumbnail. So I'm like, I'm gonna pose, cheese. Okay, I know you guys think that I'm probably like ridiculous for doing that, but I wanted to make sure that I had a moment of me like looking at the camera and smiling, because otherwise it can be really hard to like choose a screenshot for the thumbnail. But, and I can't see the chat. Oh yeah, okay. And other spiels. If you liked this or like enjoying this video, please give it a like and make sure you subscribe to the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel. I love doing all kinds of live streams, and I release a lot of new yarn dyeing videos every week, sometimes with food coloring, sometimes with commercial dyes. I love to try new things I hadn't tried before, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like, for example, coming up Thanksgiving week, onions. So there's a little spoiler. But it was really fun, and I'm really, really excited. And yeah, so now I'm going to go and start like closing this up. I'm a little afraid to stand up because that's when we tend to have issues. But a few other things, if you love the video, there's that little $sign down there, that super chat. It's like a tip jar. But if you would like to contribute on a more continuous basis, there's a link in the video description to the ChemKnits Patreon, which is a platform that connects people with the creators that they hopefully love or enjoy, and you get some cool perks in return. And so that is fun. But this yarn will eventually make it to the ChemKnits Creations Etsy store. So that is another way to support all of this, my bear yarn habit. I'm glad you guys like my videos. I truly have
a lot of fun, and all of your feedback has really helped me evolve in so many ways over the years. And okay, it's only 2:30. That's good. I am now moving the dies, which I did not use up, not anywhere close, off of the counter. Oh, I gotta take pictures. I almost forgot. I need to take some pictures of this. So it's hard with blanks. Actually, when I do, oh, there we go. When I do dye blanks or something, and I have them in the ChemKnits Creations shop, I did not even stay on the plastic wrap. Oh, goodness. I will try to always put a picture of the blank because I do unravel the yarn for people, but I think that it's just helpful to see what it's like in a blank. That's not exactly how it'll knit up, but it does give sort of a nice view of how it might knit up, if that makes sense. Cool. All right, I'm really loving this, and shoot, I definitely was a little bit goofy and did not. Okay, I mostly stayed on the line, but I did not think carefully about how I placed this. Now I'm bringing out one of my favorite bowl plates. So this end today, and you can see that end is more protected. So that is the end I'm putting sort of more towards the bottom, and the other end is more to the outside. So if things pool, it won't go into that side. Now we microwave. And I check. Oh, okay, I just have a tiny bit of orange on the counter. That's not bad, and it's food coloring. By the way, food coloring can definitely stain your counters, but I find that, what is this, like a Clorox wipe can work well, and Lysol also really helps get it off of surfaces. Pro tips. Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, now I can bring, since there's nothing to see, I can bring the picture back up. But, yeah, and obviously, when you do this, if you participate in the dye-along, you do not have to do a blank. I chose to do a blank because when I saw this, I thought, ooh, gradient yarn. And that's sort of where my head went. But also, you could see speckles, you could choose just fall tones and stuff like that. Step ladder, selfie stick will, that will help. Yeah, it's only I'm in Massachusetts, so my time zone is Eastern time in the US. And I have to pick up a child at 4, and then the other child at 4:30. But the first child is, the commute is not far. So I got time. I might need to think about what yarns I have down here, and so then I can use up the leftover dye before we get ready for company tomorrow, and I have to put everything away. Magic erasers probably do work really well. Ooh, yes. Oh, yeah. You could, I suppose, and there are a few other ways that you could participate in the dye-along as well. You could dye a lot of solid colors and then knit something. Technically, I would accept knit projects inspired by the photos too. And so, yeah, it'll just be a fun, I'll have a little slideshow in the video from pictures that you guys have submitted. I'll pick a handful and try to rotate it so I don't pick the same people each time. But it's just fun that, I look at this photo and I've shown you 2 takes, and then someone else could look at the photo and come up with something completely different. That's pretty good. But
And yes, my microwave is not my favorite. There's not an easy way for me to like, if I wanted to say like microwave for 2 minutes, I'd have to push about 8 buttons. So instead I just press the like add 30 seconds 4 times. Oh goodness. But I hope you guys are all having a really great week. What other announcements? Oh, I shipped out. If you guys pre-ordered yarn from the dice roll mystery surprise mixture a thon thing, I shipped those out this morning. So the post office has them, and the tracking should get updated in the evening. Because for some reason, even though like I go to the counter and they scan in all the packages, and so like I have this like receipt with all the like tracking numbers on it, it doesn't show up on the tracking until I think that they like enter it into whatever the sorting system magic is for the post office. So trying to break grape Kool-Aid is not really easy. If you watch the Dye Pot Weekly where I was doing that, when I first tried with some Felici sock yarn, it went from purple to, it was almost a gray. It was not white that was left. There was some hue there, but you could not really see the blue. I was able to get the blue on a non-superwash yarn. And so part of the reason for this is that when you are breaking colors, the reason why you can see the different colors is because they absorb to the yarn at different rates. So reds bind first, blues bind second. And I would say that the overall order would be red 3 is the fastest, then red 40, then the yellows, I don't know the order, and then finally blue number 1. And I don't know where blue number 2 is on the scale, but that's not used as frequently. And so the grape Kool-Aid, I think, is a mixture of red 40 and the blue number 1. And there's a lot more of that red 40, which present. And I think that because there's so little blue, the blue might start like slowly absorbing along the way. And then by the time you've used up the massive amount of red, there might not be a lot of blue left over. And so that's why for some colors, like for greens, the greens that you see break are like teal. Kelly green does, but if you had a really yellow green, you might not see that break at all because the amount of blue would just be diminished over time. And the same thing is true with some oranges. Creamy peach breaks because there is so much yellow in there in relationship to the pink, I think. So that way, by the time those red number 3 strike, there's still like a lot of color left to absorb, so you can see that really nice hue shift. You got the gray at the end, yeah. That's what I did with the superwash. So, and the thing with breaking colors as well is that usually, oh, we nice and hot. Usually, I like to use. Really low acid. Because the less acid that you have, because you can slow down the absorption of the blue or even stop it. But if you start using a lot of Kool-Aid, with each packet of Kool-Aid, you're adding more acid. You can't it's different from just adding the food coloring, if that makes sense. It's so pretty. Grabbing some more pictures. Oh. I hid my head, but I've still got the tree there. I'm going to move the bowl. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the bowl. Ha-ha! There! Oh! Yes, that's another thing you could do. You could cheat a broken look and at the very end, add a couple drops of blue food coloring to sort of spike it. And that is absolutely an option. And honestly, if you're trying to achieve a certain colorway, it's never cheating. I guess it's only cheating if you say like, okay, this is a broken colorway when you added something. But you could choose two random colors and dip one end in to one and then the other end into the other and like overlap in the middle and get something that looks and knits up very similarly to a dip dyed broken colorway. So I don't consider it cheating if you're aiming for a certain color. But I do wish that the purple from Kool-Aid was more like Wilton's Violet. Because whenever I do a rainbow with Kool-Aid, the purple always irritates me because it feels a lot more gray than purple. But I think, so what I mentioned before with like red number 3 and acid, I think, this is just a hypothesis, I don't think there's a lot of red number 3 in beverages. Because, I mean, for grape color, you want that dark purple anyway. But it's possible that with the citric acid that a lot of like sodas and stuff have, if you were to try to go for like an electric purple, the reds would crash out. And red number 3 is like a pink. So you really need that pink for a lot of purples. A lot of the other reds are a little too deep for the blues to compensate. So this is a hypothesis of mine. But I'm not part of the like food industry, so I don't know for sure. But yeah. So anyway, this was our additional blank. And I'm really glad that you guys could join me today. It was a lot of fun to sort of come at and do a little more yarn dyeing with this picture that I took myself. Going forward, the other dye-along inspiration photos, some of them, there's a site that has like unlimited license to use photographs, and I've sort of started a collection of pictures I might use for future months. But yeah, it was fun to start with one that I took myself. And it's not no filter or anything like that, but I still actually took that picture on my camera. And I mean, this camera, not sponsored. Oh goodness. Am I planning any more spin-alongs? Yes. Yes, I am definitely hoping to do some spin-alongs. I have filmed one spinning video that I need to just edit, which was spinning with felted roving. This was not roving that I dyed myself, but a friend of mine a long time ago, before I broke my foot, which is why it took me so long to get to it, my friend Liz dyed some roving and sent it to me for like a super special secret, some prize spinning session. But she is not a spinner, and so I don't think she realized that it was felted. And so I did some of that live, but then I used the rest to sort of break down and show how I spun the felted roving in another video. And so I just need to edit that. And I'm doing another pre-filmed video as well coming up. And then, and then I hope to do some more live spinning. I just haven't really had good chunks of time to do that, because a lot of the time lately with when the kids have been at school has been busy working for the Hanukkah samplers. Which, woohoo, I've wound mini skeins for 5 out of the 8 colorways. So hopefully I can get the last 3 done tonight. I'm not going to do it this afternoon. And then I can move my skein winder upstairs before we are overrun with other children. My kids, I know, kind of ignore the corner where it's been sitting, but it was really, really the most expensive thing I have ever purchased, except for maybe my laptop and camera. So I needed to be protected. Am I going to dye some blue yarn with that sparkle gel? I did. Actually, the photo that I shared with the sparkle gel is actually the yarn that I dyed with those gels. So yeah, that was a picture that I took at the very end when I just finished editing and exporting that video, and should be up in a couple weeks. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me today, and for dyeing along at home. really excited to see more of your pictures. Again, you can share them on Instagram with the hashtag ChemKnitsDialogue and tell me how you were inspired by the picture. Or there is by this, I mean, that picture is on the ChemKnits Facebook page. You can reply to a comment on that picture and share your version. And so I have not yet spun the highlighter roving yet. My roving queue is get it up there. And again, Nitpicks is having, I just added the Nitpicks link into the chat for the sock blank, but Nitpicks is having a 15% off almost everything sale. And the sale is only going on through October 29th. So you use the code FALL15, you can save 15% off your order. I believe there are some exclusions, like it doesn't apply to digital items, back-ordered items, like it's only to things they have on hand, etc. But it does stack with the bulk bare yarn discount. So if you've been eyeing a 20-pack of bare yarn, you can get that like wholesale discount and then get the like additional discount, which is great. Yeah, and then this blank and then the blank from the first video, both of those will be unraveled for the recap video. And so that will be up. Maybe I'm going to wait a little while because I want to be able to include, like, give you guys time to dialogue at home. But then the November dialogue picture will probably come out around the 15th of November. I'm trying to like off cycle this from like a lot of the other things that happen at the beginning of the month. And yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, there's tons of links in the video description. If you should check out the ChemKnits Patreon if you would like to support ChemKnits financially on a regular basis. Or you can go check out the ChemKnits Creations Etsy store, where I have a lot of hand-dyed yarn that has been made in my videos. I think there might be, out of the like 140 skeins of yarn in the shop right now, there might be 2 that were not dyed on camera. But like it's always clear in the video description if it was not. And then if it's not, I say like, oh, this is the thing that I followed. So I highly recommend that you go ahead and check that out. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see all of you soon. Probably no live streams until next week, but it's almost time for me to ship those Hanukkah samplers. So I'm excited, and I hope you guys are too. So anyway, it's today Wednesday, so it's not a happy weekend yet. Happy Hump Day, everybody. I hope you all have a great afternoon or evening. Bye, everyone. Oh, and thanks for sticking with me through the technical difficulties. I really appreciate it. Bye, everyone. Uh-oh. Now I wait. And the second secret.